Live from downtown Vancouver at the Vancouver Film School campus, it's time for EP Live. Okay. Hey, welcome to EPN. My name is Victor Lucas, and we bring you the latest in everything cool every single day. It is awesome to see you on this Friday. What is it, December 13th? What's the date today? December 13th? This is the last EP Live of 2019. Thank you for joining us on this ride here at the VFS Cafe at 390 West Hastings in Vancouver, BC. Thank you for joining us online. Thank you for joining us in the room. We're going to have some fun today. It is, it's awards season, and obviously we're going to be talking about the video game awards that Jeff Keighley put on yesterday. Lots of great stuff in there. But we're also going to be ramping up to the Rocket and Ray Gun Awards, which kick off next week, and they're going to be running for a nice long time. New content going up every day, talking about the best games of 2019 and the best games of the decade, because it is the end of this decade. So tons of categories, and we still want your videos. Today is the cutoff day, so if you want to get some video clips in there talking about your favorite racing game or your favorite fighting game from 2019 or the decade, send us those videos. You can, I think the easiest way to do it is just put them on Google Drive and then send us the link, or YouTube, send us the link on our Facebook page. You can private message us there. That's facebook.com/electric playground. That's probably the easiest way. Or you can tweet at us, or you can talk about us on the community page of this channel as well. All right, I'll remind you guys a little bit more about that, but we would love to get your video in there if you'd like to do it, or so you can, if you don't want to make a video and you want to just send me some thoughts, I'll read out some stuff as well. But we are starting to get a bunch of them, and it's great to see people from the community sending us some vids. It's going to be a lot of fun to put all these things together. Let's get started with EP Live, though. All right, it's time to talk about our rundown, and today it is dedicated to Amir Jubran, who says, "What an awesome interview." He's talking about the platinum visit that we just had. Really makes me happy to see EP still going strong after all these years. Thank you so much. And to that, this is the 86th episode of EP Live in the VFS Cafe, which kicked off in February of this year. So Blake and I have been cranking, making lots of fun episodes over this year. And it is the end of our 29th season. So season 30 will kick off in 2020. And can't wait to get into what we've got planned with all of you guys for that. All right, let's get started with Amir Jubran's rundown. Here we go. Jeff Keighley's annual Game Awards happened last night, and as always, there were loads of big announcements. The biggest news is that Microsoft unveiled their next-generation Xbox, now called Xbox Series X. It has a rectangular design resembling a tiny computer tower and can be turned on its side and used horizontally. The controller looks basically the same, but is slightly smaller and has a new share button. The best thing is that the Series X will be backwards compatible with all previous Xbox generations at launch, and even support cross-generation save files and achievements. As for new games, Microsoft announced Hellblade 2 for the Series X from Ninja Theory, a studio that became a Microsoft subsidiary last year. The new console launches in a year, in holiday 2020, and that was a very exciting reveal. I tweeted at the time, what is December when E3 happens now? Because this was like an E3 announcement that happened in the award show. And that just goes to, it speaks volumes about the size and scale of the video game awards in general. Jeff Keighley has done an unbelievable job at just getting lots and lots of eyeballs around the world on this show. And people tune in for the awards for sure, but I think even more so to have these big exclusive reveals like Hellblade 2. And it's crazy that a console was shown off, but probably a good thing to get ahead of the leaks, which we know will be coming for sure. But also, I think PlayStation is probably going to do something around February timeframe. That's what they did with the PlayStation 4. I think we're going to see the PlayStation 5 pretty soon. So, in a way, Xbox kind of put their chess piece on the board a little bit sooner. But very interesting that they are honoring, as part of the press announcement, the history of Xbox, and obviously the inclusion of xCloud is going to be a huge part of it, and the Xbox Game Pass. How many ways are we going to be saying X? But Microsoft is clearly trying to give us portability and value in the archives that we all carry around with us. And I think what the idea is, you'll be able to play whatever you've got within the Xbox ecosystem, and you'll be able to play that stuff anywhere that you want. Very interesting, especially when you consider the news last week about the MLB game going to be coming to the Xbox platform developed by Sony. Very interesting world that we're entering into in 2020. This next decade is going to be crazy for games. Now, loads of other big games were announced during the Game Awards. Fortnite developer Epic Games unveiled a new looter slasher called Godfall, which happens to be one of the first officially confirmed games for the PlayStation 5. That will launch alongside the new console late next year. Nintendo announced 2 new exclusives coming to the Switch. No More Heroes 3 is a full sequel to the original games and promises to be much bigger than the spin-off Travis Strikes Again. Nintendo also has Bravely Default 2, a sequel to the 3DS game RPGs. Both of those are hitting the Switch next year. Finally, one of the most surprising game announcements is The Wolf Among Us 2, a sequel to the episodic adventure from the now-defunct Telltale Games. It's being made by Ad Hoc Studio, a new developer founded by some former members of the Telltale Games team. The Wolf Among Us 2 is their first big project. I loved the first Wolf Among Us. Thought that was amazing. That was, of course, out at a very different time, though, and Telltale kind of flooded the market with all of these branded adventure games with the choose-your-own-adventure kind of path structure. And the effect of these games coming out in such quick succession really started to diminish their impact and ultimately led to the closure of Telltale. So I'm curious to see what is new in the experience with The Wolf Among Us. I loved the first one's art style and the aesthetic and, getting lost in the lore of the game, I think, of the comic. I think it's going to be great to revisit all of that stuff. But I want the gameplay to kind of level up with the new technology that this stuff is going to be playable on, of course. Very good news about No More Heroes 3. I love that franchise, and I was disappointed with Travis Strikes Again. It just felt too slight. But if we're getting a full meal deal from Suda51 and his team, I think this will be a phenomenal game on the Switch. Super stoked about Bravely Default 2 as well. That's a great franchise. Beautiful games on the 3DS, so I expect that the Switch titles will be engrossing and gorgeous and very cool. There weren't any massive, shocker surprises, I think, unveiled, apart from the Xbox Series X reveal there. In terms of software, it felt like relatively safe choices. And I don't know if that's a statement on the fact that we are now going into new architecture, and a lot of the reveals around what is possible and what's going to be potentially playable on PlayStation 5 and the new Xbox. People are kind of holding those cards close to their vest, or that 2020 will be a little bit lighter in terms of software because everybody's just going to be coming to grips with the horsepower that they have. And sometimes developers not only need more time with this stuff, but they also want to wait and see, who's going to come out ahead and who's going to have a slightly bigger install base. Because remember, that first year is a rough one, and a lot of studios, when they bet heavy on one game system or another, and it just doesn't sell tons or they can't manufacture enough, that really impacts the amount of sales that you're going to be able to get off of that game, and that can be brutal, right? The market is already tough enough, let alone trying to, sort of guess how many machines are actually going to be able to play your software. I think what's going to be interesting in the next year, and we're going to find out a lot more very soon, is how many games playable at the end of this generation will also run better on the next generation. I expect Cyberpunk 2077 and The Last of Us 2 will be 2 of those games. And the Ghosts of Tsushima, which had an epic reveal. Oh my God, I can't wait for that game as well. Yeah, lots of good stuff. It was a good award presentation for sure. The one thing that I would say about the awards, because I guess this is my time to talk about it, is that I'm hopeful that we get to a point with the awards where it's not so much endemic advertising tied to the honoring of the work, because as exciting as it is to be hyped for what's coming, this show should also, if it's really truly going to be a Golden Globes or Oscars type of event for the game industry, it really needs to, I think, slow the pace down a little bit and really applaud the work that's happening there. And still, it's great, and great strides get made every year, but also there's that the celebrity involvement and stuff like that, which is exciting, but it also feels like it's a contractual thing, as opposed to, oh my God, I got to be at the Game Awards and I got to be there. And so many of the ads that we go through from the premiere exclusive trailer, from the trailers, and also then we cut to an ad and it's about a new game that's coming out. It just feels like everything is so marketing, promotional driven. And I think the awards will, I guess these notes are for Keeley, but I think that the awards cross over into a new level when it's not so much endemic advertising. Honestly, some of the spots that excited me the most were the "You want to stop vaping" ads, which got a little too. There were too many of them, but it was like, yes, I mean, this is like community service type stuff, but it's also like it's not specific to this crowd and specifically selling something. It just got weird that we had an ad and then we had a trailer and then we had the person that was tied to the launch of this trailer was up on stage. I know how the business works and the mechanics work around all of this stuff, and putting on a show like that is not cheap. But I think it'll be great when the awards are just a thing that everybody wants to go to and participate in, and it doesn't feel so tied to deals, So my only quibble there. But there were tons of great awards that were given out at the Game Awards. The Game of the Year went to Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice, and it's a fantastic pick. It's a great game. I think it's a little tough for the average player to rally around, and it's like the sort of cross the full spectrum kind of game, but it was fun, and it's definitely a good choice. Best game direction was Death Stranding. Kojima won that award, which I think there was an element of predictability in there. I like this category, though. I think this is great that game direction is singled out there. It's a little weird that more slivers and more sort of content creators specific to game development aren't also singled out. But this is a good step in the right direction. And honestly, Kojima's ambition earned him this title for sure, and earned him this award for sure. Best narrative to Disco Elysium. I'm going to be talking a little bit about that game in a bit here. That was awesome, and it was great to see that team up on stage. And best art direction for Control. I think they're right on the money with that as well. Some really good games, really nice night, and kudos to everybody involved with getting the Game Awards up and running and excelling and improving every single year. Some very fun stuff. Now, let's talk about movies for a second. Over in theaters, choosing between the red pill and the blue pill isn't as hard as choosing between John Wick and Neo. Warner Brothers has announced that the upcoming Matrix sequel starring Keanu Reeves will hit theaters on May 21st, 2021. The problem is that this is the date that is already occupied by another upcoming Keanu movie, John Wick Chapter 4. A double dose of Keanu might sound like fun, but it could actually be a bad thing, with both films competing for the same audience and hurting their box office returns. Now, before you get your spoon all bent out of shape, one of those movies will almost certainly shift release dates before they arrive. Shooting on both begins soon. Man, I hope Keanu Reeves has taken very good care of his body. He's putting lots of icy packs on and making sure that he doesn't break anything or, hurt himself in any way. He's going to be doing so much action in both of these movies. I can't wait. We all can agree, right? He's breathtaking. And I'm psyched to see what everybody concocts for these new sequels. He's just a lovable dude, and he makes cool movies, and he's fun to watch on screen. So sign me up. Even if they come out on the same day, I'll see them both on the same day. It's going to happen. But likely that won't happen.